are now tuned in to Yankee Rebel Wrestlecast. Your host, Yankee Tommy and Rebel Brian. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another, as DJ Khaled says, another one of Yankee Rebel Wrestlecast. Tommy, how's it going tonight?
Man, I am excited. Last night was a PLE atmosphere. It was an amazing debut on Netflix. Man, we got a lot to talk about. We got the card on the screen for those of you who are watching live. Man, I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know where to begin, man.
I'm like, why couldn't we be doing this 10 years ago?
Seriously, like it was long overdue. It was fresh. It was clean. You didn't, not hear half the episode because things are getting bleeped out on the USA Network. We can say "fuck you" Solo and everyone can hear it. So that's a plus. But man, let's just start off the top, man. The final boss is back.
Final boss is back.
Came back last night, opened up the show, and acted a little different than normal.
Just a smidge.
He wasn't full final boss. He was a little twinge in his character. Um, More so, they were really emphasizing the fact that he is a high chief. Which I've kind of been saying to myself and some family and friends about, like, he is like a high chief. Like, I wonder when they're going to put this into story, and lo and behold, here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, with that being said, man, where do you think they go with this? Because, like we said, he acted like the Rock of old, cracking jokes and, celebrating the fans and doing his finalies, and
Mm-hmm.
which, almost a year ago, you wouldn't have been hearing any of that. So, where do you see this going?
Well, I mean, you go back to the whole Roman Cody thing and Seth Rollins back from Mania, and you saw this aggressive, I'm not going to take any shit off anybody Rock. If you get in my way, I'm calling you out. And now we kind of got babyface Rock that's going into the crowd and hugging Cody. So it kind of confused me a little bit
That
because
itself is what threw me off. When he, gave Cody his flowers and then was seen hugging him and having a drink with him, I'm like, what is happening?
it's
Like, that just seems like something like a Vince regime would do. Like, something that makes absolutely no sense.
are we going to see a face Rock for a while? I mean, or is this just a big mishap that he's going to turn and kind of get everybody on edge, and then he's going to heel turn, and then there we go.
I mean, who knows? I mean, it might be a big coup to kind of get Roman versus Rock at Mania and not have a title on the line. That's really the only thing that I can really think of, because you look at it right now. I mean, obviously, if, spoiler alert, if you're watching this, we're assuming you watched Raw. Roman Reigns won Tribal Combat.
Yes.
He is the undisputed OTC, the end all be all, the goat of all goats, God mode himself. He is a tribal chief. He has the Ulafala. The Rock put it on him last night as the high chief. So you almost got to wonder, is that the direction that they're going in? because right now you almost have to assume that the fight with Solo is over. That's going to be over and done with. Because ironically enough, I saw a clip today that I honestly forgot about that aired back in August. Um, and it was of Tama Tonga bringing the Ulafala to Solo. This was just after Roman had come back at SummerSlam and was essentially saying, if Roman takes this and becomes tribal chief, you're going to acknowledge him. And if he takes this from me, I'm going to acknowledge him. So,
Hmm.
given long term storytelling here, I, I gotta wonder, if we're gonna have some more of that, or if they're gonna kind of go their separate ways, and then maybe we see Rock and Roman have a clash here later at Mania.
And I mean, could we see a high chief versus the tribal chief? I mean, it's kind of interesting. It makes you wonder, has Rock got something up his sleeves? Could this
Oh,
be,
or his no sleeves. He ain't got
yeah,
sleeves.
no sleeves?
Exactly. I don't know, because this is the first we're hearing about the high chief name since his grandfather. And back then, that was just his nickname, or his moniker is a high chief.
Yeah.
So, how they portray this will be very interesting, because a tribal chief is seen, as a frontal leader of the family, whereas a high chief, at least in my opinion, seems more of a behind the scenes kind of just patriarchal figure, of reverence. So it'll be interesting to see if The Rock tries to challenge Roman, maybe to get that title too. I don't know.
Another thing that I'm kind of interested about is where's this going to put the new bloodline now that Roman has to be acknowledged? Are we going to see people jump ship? Are we going to see them all come together? I mean, is this a possibility of having a large bloodline now and almost kind of like an NWO faction?
Possibly. Um, it'll just have to honestly determine on, because Tongalo is hurt. There's the other three. There's Jacob, Solo, and Tamatonga. So I don't know. SmackDown's gonna be interesting. SmackDown gonna be interesting.
Yes, yes, it is.
It's gonna be the must see one of the year. So,
Well, you got LA
oh
Knight and Shinsuke, so it's going to be a good SmackDown.
yeah, yeah. I just wonder how much talent Netflix is gonna take, and how much SmackDown's gonna be left with, given now they're 3 hours.
Yeah.
So obviously going forward, every Raw is only gonna be 2 hours. That was obviously the debut. They didn't really have a time limit, but um, you got to leave somebody on SmackDown.
Could
But
we see Super Show capability? Everybody going to each show?
possibly, but then in my opinion, you'd have to get rid of you have to reunify the belts that you just separated. So I don't see it, giving how many titles they have. Like, you're not going to have two women's world titles people are fighting for on both. It just doesn't make sense. But um, I don't know. We'll see. But speaking of title matches, Liv Morgan and Mommy.
Mommy. This was actually a
Oh
really decent match.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was a decent match.
I mean,
Um,
and capped off with a beautiful kick to the nutsack.
uh, I don't understand Dominic's reasoning there at the end of the match. I don't understand it, but where does
He's
that put the
literally.
Judgment Day now? I mean, is this going to be a disbanding situation? I mean, now that Liv has lost the title,
I mean, at this point, the Judgment Day, it's kind of run its course. Liv was the last remaining champion that they had. Um, it doesn't seem like Finn and JD are getting any rematches here at all. It just seems like, Finn's back against Priest again. I thought they ended that, started that, ended it, started it. So I don't know, man. I mean, I would hope so, and just kind of give everyone just a fresh start, because it almost feels like it's like the start of a new season. They
Yeah.
have that after Mania. It's like this is what it feels like to me. So it feels like going forward, we kind of just go in a different direction. But I mean, I agree. The match was solid, um, top to bottom, and it was nice to see Rhea finally get that revenge and get her title back. Um, so I expected to see maybe Charlotte Flair or
Yeah, me
somebody
too.
kind of confront Rhea after she had won. So that was a little disheartening to me that it was kind of just left as it was. But it was cool to see the American Badass come out and kind of celebrate with Rhea.
Yes.
I thought that was a cool moment. And you saw them both do that Undertaker pose. So kind of maybe, passing the torch a little bit to her as kind of, the female just darkness. And maybe just giving her his celebratory victory taunts. I don't know. It was just cool and unexpected.
If I was Rhea, I would take that as like the most honorable thing that could ever happen to me in wrestling.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like you could hear she's like, "Well, I wasn't expecting that." But I mean, for someone like the Undertaker to come out and especially after the women's world title match and kind of pose with her, that's cool because Undertaker's one of the goats. You
Yes.
know, no one dares say a bad thing about that man. So, but yeah, that was just cool. That was a cool moment.
So I mean, and I know that everything that happened last night is setting up how Netflix is really wanting this Raw project to go for them. And I know that they probably have executives in the back that's saying we want certain champions. And I'm kind of curious. I'm waiting to see where Braun Breaker falls in that, because that's who they were really talking about when this transition was going to take place. They wanted Braun Breaker to kind of be the face of Raw for Netflix.
Yeah, and it was odd that he was omitted from the card last night, and he was just in the
Yes,
crowd. That to me was like Raw debut on Netflix, one of the biggest nights in WWE history, and you're in the stands watching. It had nothing to do with the show at all.
yeah,
Something to me don't make sense.
yeah,
Like, I honestly, and it was a good match that we'll talk about in a second, Uso and McIntyre. I would have rather seen Braun Breaker defend his Intercontinental title. Being that he is a champion on the show, I felt like it would have, made a little bit of sense. But I mean, I understand it. Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre are top talent, so I get it. But Braun Breaker is your blue chip rising star, and the fact that he was omitted from the show to me was kind of alarming.
it was alarming, but there was so much going on. I mean,
I
so
know,
much
I
going
know.
on.
I mean, we'll have to pump the brakes, but it, it just you would think, given it's the debut, that you would have somebody of his caliber on the show and involved in some capacity versus just being featured in the crowd.
Yeah,
Like maybe show like they did with Gunther. They at least showed a vignette of him, working out. Show something of Braun doing. I don't know, something.
yeah, yeah. It
But
was a little odd to me, little odd to me, but it's okay. It's it was still an amazing show regardless, which
yeah, yeah. I mean,
brings us to the one of the goats,
John
and
Cena.
and John Cena coming out, which got a really good pop from Los Angeles.
Yeah, yeah. It was. it was interesting when he first started talking. You could hear the Boston in him come out. When he was starting to talk, and then he got back into his normal shtick. But I mean, that song is still a banger. 20 plus years later, I listen to it every so often. Um, and I mean, John Cena, I will say my things about him, but he is iconic.
Yes.
He is one of the best to ever do it. And this whole farewell tour thing is new to us wrestling fans, but as a sports fan, you've seen it before, with the likes of Kobe and others. So it'll be interesting to see how wrestling does their take on this. But I mean, long story short, I mean he declared and said he's going to win the Royal Rumble.
Well, not only that, but he said Money in the Bank, Elimination Chamber. Cena's got some options if he wants to try to become a 17-time world champion.
Yeah, and I mean, y'all who are watching, go to our page. We got a poll up. What do you think Cena's going to win? Also, he also has King of the Ring. Wasn't mentioned, but King of the Ring also gets you a title match at SummerSlam. So that's another avenue. But he did say first up, he's like, I'm going to win the Royal Rumble, which he has done before. It's been a
Yes, he
while.
has.
Done it before. So not impossible, Hopefully gets a more favorable number at his stage and age in his career.
Let's talk Royal Rumble for a minute.
Okay.
What happens if the cheat sheets are right and
Oh, on those damn things.
yeah, and we have a Cena versus Rock Royal Rumble and The Rock beats Cena. What then?
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, then you figure he's got the Elimination Chamber right after that. So that, he would get number one contendership after Mania. And one would figure if The Rock wins, he's going to challenge Cody. Storyline would make the most sense. Um, so then it leaves Cena to face whoever wins after that. I don't know. To me, I don't see him winning the Royal Rumble
No.
because I think this year is the year that CM Punk wins the Royal Rumble and gets his main event at WrestleMania. Calling it now.
Interesting.
CM Punk has not had a WrestleMania main event match. It's what he's wanted. Should have had one a while ago, but you know, I think part of the Royal Rumble you could see um, The Rock in the Royal Rumble and him and Punk have kind of a face to face to kind of bring back that whole thing with The Rock still in the main event a year ahead of time with Cena. Well, while Punk was champion and that whole ordeal, so I think they could definitely bring that back for a hot second.
Yeah.
But I just I see Cena getting the title if he gets it towards the end of the retirement tour. That way, maybe his last match, if he has the belt, he loses it and kind of goes out and has a great match and then says bye bye.
Do we see Cena getting that 17th world championship?
I don't, because I don't know if, I mean, Cena said he doesn't care to have it. He got 16, he's tied with Flair. Like, it's not going to do him any good to go one up on Flair, though he would be record setting. But I just don't see him doing it because I mean, at this age, you really see him beating a guy like Gunther. I don't
No.
think so.
No.
Cody Rhodes, possibly more. I could see that happening more than Gunther, but I just don't. Unless they rebuild Super Cena up again throughout the year to then kind of
Yeah.
get on a hot streak. I don't know.
And he's looking pretty thin. I mean, let's face it, he's not the Cena of old.
Yeah, no. As my fiance will tell you, his muscles are not as big. I don't know if anyone was looking at his arms, but she was and said they were noticeably smaller. So I do not feel bad talking about Nia Jax on this program any longer.
Yes, good call. But
Yes,
Cena
sir.
did mention some names that he could face. He's CM Punk. He mentioned Gunther. He mentioned Cody Rhodes. I mean, he's mentioned some top-notch talent.
McIntyre.
McIntyre.
Yeah, I think at some point, whether you have a match or not, you got to have something with Punk and something with Randy at a minimum, because those are two of your top rivalries of your career.
Yeah.
So at some point, those paths have to cross, whether it's in an actual storyline or whether it's just kind of like a here again, gone tomorrow thing. But something's got to happen with them.
I agree with that. I see Cena possibly winning the Intercontinental title. I do see
That
that.
is more understandable because then he'd be a Grand Slam champion, which I'm surprised he isn't. But then again, once he got a title, he shot to superstardom, and he didn't really need the IC title, nor was on the show that had it. So
Yeah.
um, that I see more so him being finally a Grand Slam champion, which is baffling. Cena isn't a Grand Slam champion, and The Miz is a two-time Grand Slam champion.
Yes.
You
Yes, he
tell me how
is.
that makes. You tell me how that makes sense.
And Miz and Cena had some great rivalry themselves. And even when Miz was Intercontinental Champion, you never had Cena go after the belt.
No, nope, crazy. That I see more so happening than his 17th world title. The
Yeah.
IC title definitely, because hey, Braun Breaker has that belt. I mean, he's had some bonehead mistakes, and like Cena said with Roman, I don't have to beat you. All I have to do is one, two, three. So I think we'll see a lot more of Cena taking advantage of some people's missteps than seeing the Super Cena of the 2010s.
Yeah. It's a good call out, Tommy.
What can I say? Hoorah!
Well, what about the next match? One that I just didn't expect, but it was kind of just one of those quick rivalries.
Yeah, Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. And Drew taking the L again. He's been taking the L a lot lately.
Yes,
I
he
don't remember
has.
the last time he's won a match that actually meant something. Uh, but I mean, hey, Jey Uso came out on top. It's the first time he's ever beaten Drew McIntyre. So they did note that. So I thought it was a good match. Jay came out on top. Drew's kind of in the weeds right now. He's just feuding with former, OG Bloodline member. He was with fight Sammy. Now he's fighting Jay. What are we gonna see Jimmy until he gets to Roman? I don't know where they're going with either one of these two, to be honest, because from Jay's perspective, we haven't, you know, the OG Bloodline got together at War Games. They won. Really haven't been together since, all of them. Obviously, we've seen Sammy, Jimmy, and Jay together at points, but not with
Yeah.
Roman. And I don't know if that's because Roman was gearing up for Tribal Combat or what, but it's just it hasn't been the same since that night. So
So
um,
let me ask you this, Tommy. Why did Kevin Owens come out last night during the tribal combat match? Where did that make any sense?
I mean, only I guess to screw Roman over, but he hasn't even done anything with Roman in how long? And now all of a sudden we just yep, he's gonna come out and stunner Roman. What?
It's
Like
I mean, Kevin Owens is becoming the guy that's going to kick everybody's ass backstage, and it doesn't matter who it is. He's going to show up at any point in time. And I mean, if you were going to signify even higher ramping of Cody versus Kevin, I think that if anything they did last night that didn't make any sense, that was it.
yep, Yeah, yeah, hardcore. Because I mean, of all the things I expected, you know, the bloodline to come out and attack Roman. That was expected.
Yeah,
I expected, you know, the o- some of the OG bloodline. Jay didn't because he had a match, but some of the OGs to come out and help Roman. I did not expect Kevin Owens to come out and stunner Roman because there hadn't been any recent interaction with the two. There is a story, but there wasn't anything recent to where they've crossed paths. So to me, it was a little bit of a reach to have him go in there. It was kind of like at Mania when they had Taker come out instead of Stone Cold, which reasons you know off to the side. No one was expecting Taker to come out because I mean Taker and Rock had no previous stuff. They never really worked a serious program together, so it was kind of just whatever. Even though Taker and Roman have obviously had clashes, so yeah, it was definitely a stretch.
yeah, I agree 100%. And I was like, yeah, I was glad to see Kevin Owens, but I'm like, this is not where he needs to come in at.
Right. So it's like now, like where does Jay and Drew go? Because kind of like Kevin, they're just kind of in the weeds,
Yeah.
floating between different stories. And you know, where does Cody go? Is he still going after Kevin? I don't know anymore.
Well, they do have their match at Royal Rumble, so I mean, that's at least going to have to go all the way to Royal Rumble before we see. And I wouldn't be mad on a Kevin Owens title reign.
No, no, like that's fine. I've wanted one. I'm honestly surprised that Kevin didn't come out and stun Cody when Cody came out and I mean, like they obviously fought, eventually, but it's like you brought Kevin out there to stun Roman just for Cody to come back and save Roman, and I don't know. They
Yeah,
just
it
need
just
to move as far away from that as possible.
yeah.
Because,
It's like it's like NWO. Everybody's getting involved in the conflict.
right, it's like you don't need to have everyone involved in the NWO stuff.
Yeah,
You know,
all
it
57 members.
seriously. We could have a whole show just listing off the members.
We could.
Literally, it's like the whole roster. Oh dear God! But speaking of oh dear God, can somebody tell me um who thought it was a good idea to bring out Hulk Hogan to on Monday Night Raw on Netflix in California?
Oh my gosh.
Can somebody
Oh
tell
my
me
gosh.
who thought that was a good idea?
It's in the most liberal state other than New York and in all the world. You're going to bring the
Literally,
guy out that supported President Trump, broke a promo.
we're gonna make America great again. Ah. Like that's who we brought out in Los Angeles, California.
And I get it. They're trying to introduce his beer and it's now a sponsor but man, you could have waited till the next show.
Yeah, it just it doesn't
The
make
man
sense.
the man got booed out of the building.
Yeah, I mean the boos were loud. I could barely hear his music. Like the boos were so loud. And like I mean, I know and I think you'll agree that we don't like when politics bleeds into sports, wrestling, things of that nature.
Absolutely.
But you gotta just use some common sense and be like, people are gonna blur those lines whether you like them or not. And Hogan's put himself in the political spectrum. So, given that you're in, like you said, one of the most liberal states in the country, you're going
If
to bring
not the
out,
most.
yeah, you're going to bring out one of the more conservative faces and think he's going to get cheered. I mean,
Not
it,
gonna
it
happen.
honestly would have been better, speaking of NWO, to have him just come out in his NWO. Then, if you boo him, it at least makes sense. Jesus. Oh God, I don't know.
Actually, I think if they would have dropped the NWO music, he would have got a better pop.
Probably, probably, but we're not that lucky. Okay, we are not that. We can't get everything we want,
I
Brian.
know, I know,
They
I
have to give
know.
us something to complain about, which which I will complain about something regarding this topic in my rant to close the show, just to
Fantastic,
ease it.
fantastic. Well,
But
we have Penta as
we
a.
do.
I'm excited for this. I'm just going to tell you, I am excited. I have loved this guy for so long, and now
Yeah,
he's
we
going to
saw him
make
on the
his big.
Jericho cruise.
Yes.
I mean, Lucha Brothers. I mean, if they can get Ray Phoenix over, they got a legit tag team in in WWE. They've been Triple H been bringing him in. He's got Motor City Machine Guns. They've already got a title reign. I think two. They have two. They
Hmm.
have two now. They have two-time tag team champions. They've been here at 2 months. Um, you know, bringing in Penta's just huge in general.
Well,
He's
and we saw the promo with Chad Gable, and he said he's sick of luchadors and all this, and Adam Pearce is like, I'm going to make a phone call real quick.
yep,
So
yep.
I'm
Oh,
hoping that's going to be a banger match if we get Penta versus Chad Gable. It's going to be a
yeah.
banger
No,
of a match.
that's gonna be underrated match. But we all we all know who that luchador is,
Yes,
and
and
he
it's
and
not Rey Mysterio.
no, and damn it, he better have his music. All I better hear tenemos cero miedo. That's all I gotta say. Because Penta is one of the best on planet Earth.
Yes.
He's so good in the ring, singles and in tag team. Luchas. Seisma Sparkle with Luchasaurus.
Oh my gosh.
Let's not talk about
Yeah,
eight
Lord.
low. Let's not talk
Yeah,
about
I miss the old Luchasaurus.
seriously.
I do.
God. Yeah, next week, Penta Chad Gable. Penta's debut. It's gonna be a banger.
It is going to be a banger. There's no question about it.
And then our main event of the Raw on Netflix debut, the voice of the voiceless,
Yes.
CM Punk versus Dead freaking Wowins. Sizemore Sparkles says hashtag I still hate Jungle Boy.
Just because he didn't show up to his autograph session and she liked him back then, and
I remember that because you guys were in the other line because I think we were in line because I think you had already went and saw oh gosh, the Acclaimed, because
yeah,
they were on the far left and then Jungle Boy was I think at the far right, because wasn't it him and Jade Cargill
yeah.
both, but Jade Cargill was sick though, but they told us like after waiting an hour, oh yeah, she's sick. You tell me no one knew that 20 minutes prior to the signing? Like,
Which I actually got to go see Ruby Soho too, so
that's
that was really cool.
she
And
is very sweet. Very
yeah,
sweet.
yeah, and she saw my Money in the Bank briefcase too, which was pretty awesome.
Ew. Yes, speaking of Money in the Bank briefcases, before we get too sidetracked, um, so my buddy Jake, he's also a wrestling fan. We might have to get him on here in the show one time. When I asked him to be the godfather of Milo, I got him a legit Money in the Bank briefcase and put the Godfather contract in the briefcase. That's
No way.
legit. Legit. They had one of those special deals on it, so it was like, I don't know, 25% off or something. And I'm like, I'm getting it. This is too cool. Too cool. But
Oh
as a
man,
wrestling fan, that's just what you got to do.
you do, you do.
But back to Punk and Rollins. This match was better than I expected it to be. Very, very back and forth. But once again, Punk's on a hot streak.
He's on a hot streak, no
He's
question.
been he's been racking up those wins, and I mean, Cena and Punk are the first two to declare for the Royal Rumble. So, I mean, I just think it's going to be difficult to. I mean, barring anything catastrophic happening, not seeing CM Punk win the Royal Rumble for I believe the first time ever and get to headline WrestleMania. So I just think that's just written in the stars. You know,
Literally.
yeah. And I mean, if it's taking out a guy like Gunther, I don't think that'd be a bad thing for Gunther because it's not like Punk's, he's washed or he's terrible by any means. So it's one of those where Gunther can take the L, give it to Punk, and he's still not going to be, worse for wear.
Yeah. Do you think he's still got enough in the tank, though?
Maybe for one more run. I think he could do one more championship run, but going forward, I see him kind of more as having those, like the Rollins and the McIntyre, those heated rivalries, because he's good at getting under people's skin and can still talk on the mic. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of his stuff is going to be more of that than any real, major title. But I think he's got at least one in the tank.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing with him is health. That's
Yeah.
really just him staying healthy.
He
And
looked a little slow in portions of the match last night, but so did Rollins.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There was some parts of the match that was a little bit flat, and then you're thinking, man, are both of these guys getting to the point where either they just dislike each other that much, and they're just like, whatever, let's get this match over with or whatever. But I was like, do they both still have enough in the tank to be able to make those big runs again?
Right. And for Punk at his age, it's a little more understandable because he's almost 50.
Yeah,
And in wrestling terms, I mean that's on the older side for sure. So when it comes to him, it's a little more understandable why his cardio could be a little worse for wear, than Seth. Seth's also had a lot of major injuries, so it's hard to say for him.
yeah, I agree with that. And Rollins' knees, his neck, and not only Punk, but I mean, look how much beating that Punk took in AEW just with the
Yeah,
matches with MJF alone.
yeah. I mean, Punk's noted. I mean, Ryback alone took years off of him physically,
Yeah,
and you know, is it something where Punk needs to get back in the ring more? I mean, I don't know. Like, is it just a lot of just like wrestling cardio that he needs to get back in? I mean, he's not wrestling a lot, so it's not like he's like exhausted. Maybe it's just he's at that part time level where that's kind of the stuff you're going to get from him.
yeah. But all in all, it wasn't a bad match.
No, no, it was definitely worth the main event. It didn't underwhelm me, but hey, Punk beat Rollins. He beat McIntyre how many times? He's now beaten Rollins. Where do we go from here?
Yeah,
Royal Rumbles in less than a month. Where do we see these two leading up to the Royal Rumble? Because as of right now, I feel like things have got to be just tuning up for that.
yeah. Tune the band up.
So, where do you see Punk leading up to the Royal Rumble?
I think if he does win it, I don't think he's going to go after Cody. I think he's going to go after Gunther.
Yeah,
And I think that with Punk's experience and Gunther's just ability to wrestle, is these guys could end up putting on a clinic if it takes place that way after the Rumble.
yeah, because it's not like Punk is too far gone to where Gunther has to literally carry him through, but Gunther's definitely going to have to carry the brunt of this to get it across the finish line, which is more than capable of doing. but it's more so, is Punk physically going to be able to endure the match given how physical Gunther is in the ring?
Yeah.
Because I can easily see us having a lot of blisters, seeing blisters on Punk's chest and not being able to visibly see any of his tattoos afterward.
Ouch.
I mean, did we not see that he freaking broke a table with his hand in NXT when he fought Ciampa that one time?
Yeah.
I mean, they auctioned that shit off on the shop. I wanted to get it, but it sold for over $1,000. So I'm like, this is the guy we're talking about, and he's in a lot better shape. So that would be a clinic. I would love to see that. Um, Rollins, I don't know for me. Rollins is up in the air right now, and I think he might cruise to the Royal Rumble match if he's involved, because I really don't know what else he's going to do up until then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be weird who his next rivalry is going to be with because I think the Punk and Seth is over. I think one good match out of them like that, and it's pretty much over.
Yeah, I mean, Punk's got his eyes set on the future. He wants that world title match, and Royal Rumble's coming up, so I think it'll be a lot of that kind of talk. But we did have some breaking news during the show. 2K25 was announced. They're going to have some type of news January 28th. So, I mean, it was teased during a Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman segment after Roman won Tribal Combat. They were seen going through two doors, thinking it was a locker room. It had the 2K25 logo on it. Um, Also hinting at, there's going to be some of that news coming up soon. So, for all you wrestling fans out there that love the video game, y'all know Brian and I are going to be playing,
Hmm.
streaming it. So, this is good news. It's very good news. And if you haven't seen the screenshots of the game, go look it up. They look clean. If you compare Cody specifically from last year to this year, he doesn't look as overweight. I'm just saying, laid off the Oreos.
Oh my goodness. Well, Tommy, is that going to send us into our rants for tonight?
You know, I think it can. Brian, I'm gonna let you go this time because I just want to close it out. I want to close it out tonight.
All right. Well, I do want to start off by first saying that Netflix did one hell of a job
They did.
with Raw last night. It definitely was no past of the Tyson Paul fight that we were buffering and all
Slight
that.
cheap.
It was a clean stream. We saw some great camera angles. The drone thing was really super cool.
That was
And
badass.
so all in all, I've it has increased my love of wrestling just because everybody's got Netflix, man. Everybody's got Netflix. If you're not watching Squid Game or something else on
Cobra
Netflix,
Kai
Cobra
or
Kai, yeah, I mean everybody's got it. So we don't have any excuses to not watch wrestling on Netflix. And to me, from a business perspective, that was the greatest thing that WWE could do. I eventually look for SmackDown to go to Netflix after the USA contract is over with.
oh yeah,
I really believe that.
I think all in all, because I'm not sure how long the contracts go. I know SmackDown just got to USA, and I think that's like a 5-year contract. So I
Hmm.
think once you get to probably 2030, I think all of WWE NXT included, I think it's all going to be on Netflix, which is awesome because even for the casual fan, they can watch it next day because before we went on live stream, I got a notification that Raw was able to be watched. So it's less than 24 hours. They already got it uploaded on Netflix. You can watch it whenever and
Nice.
rewatch it and stuff. So I know they had mentioned that I think in Europe and other countries, WWE is fully already on Netflix. Like
Yeah.
everything. But once it gets on a global scale, I think you'll see more of the production quality change because then it's a uniform. It's a uniform thing. But continue.
But that is my biggest part of my rant tonight is that Netflix is going to be a huge thing for WWE, and I think that streaming is now going to be the future of wrestling. I mean, you've got AEW already with content on Max now, so I think Collision is on Max now. So this is the future. This is the future of we go back and we laugh because I'm older, and we had 8 tracks, we had cassette tapes, we had albums, we had CDs, and we had iPods, and now we have everything is on streaming. Wrestling, we had TVs with 3 channels. We had cable come into play, 605 on the Superstation, and Saturday night's main event. We
Yep.
had we had smart TVs. Now we have full streaming TVs that have nothing but apps on them. This is where content is going to be at. Again, like you said, in the next 5 years, I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing all these products on some streaming service somewhere.
Yeah, and it allows the company to grow because millions and millions of people have Netflix. So, people haven't watched it in a while. Oh, hey, WWE's on Netflix. Let me just take a look. You might get them, you might not, but you have a hell of a lot more eyes on the product, especially with all the people you've been bringing in as well. So they're really going full steam ahead for this.
But that's my rant. Just talking about the future of wrestling.
It's beautiful. It's bright. Just like your smiling face. On to mine. Mine is a little more aggressive and
I wouldn't expect
puts me in a
anything else.
puts me in a pissed off mood to talk about it. But anyway, I, as a wrestling fan and enthusiast of products that wrestlers have, am very offended that Real American Beer is the official beer of WWE. And it's not because of anything political at all, which many of you might think that's where I'm going. I am not. You have the GOAT of all beer drinkers, Stone Cold Steve Austin, has had Broken Skull IPA, Broken Skull American Lager out for years. But you give your first beer licensing deal to Hulk fucking Hogan. Can you make any of that make sense? I
No,
mean, any of it. It does not
no.
make any sense.
Hogan never chugged any beers in the ring.
No. Stone Cold chugged thousands upon thousands of beers in the ring. He's known for that. There is a 316 day for that.
Yes.
And you don't give him the ability to have his product sold? See, to me, Triple H, this is one of the things you're fucking up, man. You flubbed Stone Cold at Mania. You flubbed him in your beer licensing shit you're pulling. I don't like this. Don't you be snubbing the GOAT. Don't you dare snub the rattlesnake. I'll look directly in the camera when I'm talking to you. Don't do it again. Don't you do it. He doesn't deserve it. It's wrong. I don't know what else to say. It's common sense, people. Do you think this beer is actually going to sell? The amount I got booed, do you really think it's going to sell? I bet you if you put Real American Beer next to a Broken Skull IPA, Stone Cold's will sell 3-4 times more than Hogan's would. And this rivalry goes back to I'm pretty sure it was Stone Cold's Hall of Fame induction ceremony or something like that when they had their little beef.
Yeah.
Yeah. So boo Hogan, boo, boo you old man, you old crone.
Why didn't we name it NWO beer?
Because Hogan's got to have his face on it.
I would drink NWO beer.
Yeah, but he's not going to be getting the full money for that. Then he had to split it with Hall, Hall's family, and then Nash will want some of it. He's got to
Yeah.
have it hit and caboodle here.
Well, he sure got
It's
booed last night. Let's
and,
face it. Hogan
and just
probably
off
got.
of that, just off of that, he deserved it. He deserved it because Stone Cold deserved that. That was baloney. That was bull shiza. It was blasphemous, is what that was. So that is all I got to say. That just really pissed me off.
Well, it's in good reason because Stone Cold's is good. I've actually had it, so it's actually really good. So,
Yeah,
um,
I've had the IPA. I've had the American Lager. It is delicious. It's expensive, but it's good for special occasions. So hey,
are you gonna try Hogan's just to see?
maybe if I like, okay, I'm not gonna go out looking for it. I'll put it that way. But if I happen to stumble upon it, I might try one. I might try one.
Okay.
But I'm not going to be going out looking for it. Stone Cold's, I went to several Wegmans and liquor stores around here to try to find it because I actually like it. I'm not going out of my way for Hogan's beer. I can tell you that right now.
Well, I know they have it here, so I may have to try it and see if it's what it's
Maybe
cracked
we
up
can
to
do a
be.
live taste test on the
Live
show.
taste test.
Yep, and you can tell me how much it blows because it's not going to be as good. Actually, what I want you to do is have I want to have D blindly wrap the cans, pour them in a glass or whatever.
Okay.
You try real American beer and you try Stone Colds and you tell me which one you like better.
That's a show.
Yeah, I mean you'll probably have to get the real American lager because the IPAs have a distinct taste to them.
Yeah.
But but if you can find that, we can do a live taste test to see which one you like better. And there's only one answer. And if you're wrong, if you're wrong, just know that I'll be on the first flight out to your home because I know where you live, boy. I know where
Yes.
you live.
Yes.
Oh
Well,
God.
that
Well,
puts us at the end of another show.
wow, we're there
Dang,
already.
man. We're there already.
Damn.
Jeez.
Why does time go by so fast?
I don't know because we talk about everything. That's exactly why.
That's fair. We're good at that. We're good at
We
just
are
flat thumbs.
we are. And I again taking away from the show, we have just got a mutual agreement that Netflix has done a wonderful thing with Raw. It's going to be a great relationship, and I see these shows. I feel like they're going to have to feel like they're going to have to overperform every week to be able to make this happen big time. I don't think we're going to have those little bitty mid card matches like we used to and filler stuff. I think they know they've got to perform.
Well, yeah. With how much promotion and hype that the show's gotten, you're almost kind of competing against yourself because you don't really have a whole lot of like the Monday Night War competition going on. You're literally competing against your last show. Like you're literally competing against yourselves head to head. How can we be better than this show? Maybe it'll spark more creativity, more freedom and different stuff. But I mean, overall, if we're gonna base the future success of this off of this show, I think it's gonna be very, very successful.
Agreed. 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 Tommy, tell everybody where they can find us.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you can go to our link tree, which we will have post in the comments here And we'll have it posted in the description of this podcast. Patreon.com/Yankee Rebel Wrestlecast to subscribe to all of our special stuff. Please keep an eye out for the 2K stuff. We will be posting about that soon. We're kind of figuring out what kind of format we want to do. So if y'all have anything you'd like to see, shoot us a comment, a DM, whatever. Let us know, because we do this for y'all. So what you want to see, we will more than do. Obviously, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. We are live, like you said, once a month, but with the Raw on Netflix, we had a special extra live show this month. So the next time we will be live, I'm pretty sure will be, I think, Saturday night's main event. They
Yes.
announced was at the end of the month. So we'll have a live show for that leading into the Royal Rumble as well. So, yeah, man, Linktree. Just check out all of our stuff. And again, Twitch, Facebook, Patreon, YouTube. We got our new merch line coming out, so keep an eye out for that. We're hammering out some of the details on that, so that'll be out. And we'll let you know as soon as they drop.
Yeah, and don't forget our Logan Paul Sucks hashtag shirt is still on the store. And that awesome Dave LaGreca t-shirt that we all should be wearing that just shows him in all his greatness.
You call him Dave? Like, did you just give him a compliment after
No,
you
no,
after
it was
you literally
sarcasm.
said that you were gonna, be coming after him? Now you're giving him compliments.
That was
I
sarcasm in its finest form. So
just checking. I'm just trying to keep you honest. I know New Year's resolutions can often get broken. I just want to keep you on track.
this isn't Planet Fitness, man. I have a hatred for Dave LaGreca. Okay, I have a hatred for Dave LaGreca. Jesus
I,
Christ.
I would know better than anyone because I used to work there, had a free membership for like 2-3 years, and I still didn't go.
The judge-free zone. The judge-free
That's right.
zone.
Yep. Oh God, this is the judgment zone. We will judge you.
We will judge
Hardcore.
you. Guys, don't forget to download our podcast on Apple Podcast and Spotify or wherever you get your podcast from. Just type in Yankee Rebel Wrestlecast and give us that 5-star review. We are working hard to bring you great shows. And for Yankee Tommy, I am Rebel Brian. We have just spine bustered you like Arn Anderson on this week's show. Man, that's a good reference. I'm not going to lie. That was a good reference.
It was.
And we will be back with you next week. So make sure you're staying tuned and downloading the podcast so you'll know when that new episode hits. And again, like I said, for Yankee Tommy, I am Rebel Brian, and we are out, kids. We'll talk to you later.